Hello, my Nyctophillacs. This is Filia Noctis. Tonight I have 2 true stories about really bad dates. So sit back, close your eyes, and enjoy the comforts of the dark. My date with a demon. This happened a long time ago. A girlfriend, Vic, and I were double dating with Slade and Micah one night in the late spring. I'd gone out with Slade a few times before this, but Vic and Micah had only known each other for a little while, and this was only their second date. Vic was my friend from school, and Micah was a friend I had met at a science fiction convention, and Slade was a friend of Micah's from his work. So the 4 of us went to dinner and then to a movie. And at the end of the evening, we all decided to go to Micah's house because his mom and dad were out of town. After we got there and talked for a little while, we went to separate rooms to fool around. Slade and I went to Micah's room, and Micah and Vic went to his parents' room. When I was younger, I had this thing I could do. I would look at someone's face and let my eyes relax and my vision go blurry, and then I would see a different face superimposed over their face. I just assumed it was like the real face of their soul showing through. I never thought to ask if this was something I should do, or even ask permission for that matter. So sometime later, Slade and I had mostly finished messing around, and I was straddling him, looking down into his face. And I decided to try my little thing and see what his real face looked like. I saw nothing. Not that I didn't see the other face. I saw nothing. It was void, black. There was no soul face. I didn't even see Slade's face. It was like looking into a black hole where not even light can be seen. I've never seen anything like it, nor have I ever seen anything like it to this day. It was darker than black. It was darker than the very blackest black. As I was trying to process what I wasn't seeing, Slade grabbed my upper arms and threw me off of him. He threw me so hard, I flew several feet off of the foot of the waterbed. I hit the floor and slid up against the wall. At the same time, Slade was suddenly standing on the foot of the bed. There was no sloshing of the water. It was as if Slade had levitated. In a deep, gravelly voice, he said,
"Do not do that again. You never do that without my permission."
And then he laid back down, as if none of it ever happened. I quickly grabbed my clothes and left the room, heading for the bathroom. When I was dressed, I went to Micah's parents' room. I knocked as I was opening the door. Vic and Micah were also finished with their activities and were surprised by my interruption. We're done. So I was coming to see what you 2 were up to. And I sat at the foot of the bed across from Micah. Vic was on the left side of the bed, and Micah was on the right side of the bed if you were standing at the foot of the bed facing them. On either side of the bed were floor-to-ceiling windows. The room had vaulted ceilings and a skylight in the bathroom. As I was looking at Vic, something caught my eye. I saw large, red, almond-shaped eyes near the top of the window on Vic's side of the bed. I shouted, "Do you see that? What is that?" Micah leaned across Vic and looked up and said in a whisper, "What the hell is that?" "Close the blinds," I shouted, and he grabbed the twist stick and twisted the blinds shut. Then he leaned back over to his side of the bed and closed the other set of blinds. "You saw that, right?" I asked Micah, and he nodded yes. About that time, I realized Slade was leaning against the door jamb and standing with one ankle crossed over the other in a very casual pose. Vic was questioning us about what we saw because she didn't see anything. As I was telling her about the eyes, we heard something outside. There was something walking around the pool out on the cool decking. The thing had the sound of a horse walking on concrete with kind of a hollow sound, but there was only 2 footfalls, not 4. It sounded really heavy. We all heard it, and we were all getting the chills, and the hair on our arms and the backs of our necks was standing on end, and I had a sick feeling in the pit of my stomach. We heard the sound of this thing all around the house. Then we started hearing it on the roof. We could even hear the attic beams creaking. All of us, except Slade, were freaking out. None of us wanted to leave the bedroom because there were open blinds and skylights all over the house. After about an hour, Slade says, "Okay, that's enough." And the footsteps stopped. During this whole time, Slade had been calm, even bored. And then he says something and it all stops. Vic and I waited for a few more minutes, and then we ran to my car and we sped the hell out of there. When I got home, Vic went to sleep on my couch and I went to my room. I got that same sick feeling that I had had at Micah's house, and I started to panic. Thank God I had closed my curtains before we left that evening. So after about 10 minutes, the feeling went away. I never saw Slade again, and I'm still friends with Micah, and every once in a while I hear from Vic. I have never spoken about this to either one of them after that night. I have felt that same feelings a few times over the years, but it's been a long time since I have felt it. I don't really know what I did or didn't see, and I have no explanation for the events of that evening. It truly seemed as if Slade was controlling that thing. And I've had people tell me that Slade was a demon or something that was demonic in nature, but I don't really know. I can tell you one thing though, I don't do that face thing anymore. My date with a murderer. When I was 21, I bounced around from job to job, and I eventually got a job at a call center, and that's where I met Mark. He and I talked on our smoke breaks, and after about 2 weeks, we started eating lunch together. One day, I invited Mark to my house for lunch, as I lived relatively close. We did this a couple of times, and then we decided to have dinner. I had a pool, and it was September in Phoenix, so it was still nice and warm for swimming in the evening. So one Tuesday, I made dinner for Mark and I, and after we ate, we went for a swim. After swimming for a little while, we started kissing, and we made our way back to my apartment for some adult time, and Mark left near 1 a.m. The next day, which was Wednesday, Mark was not at work, nor was he on Thursday. By Friday, our boss had asked me to stop by Mark's house and check on him because he had not answered his phone. I pulled up in front of Mark's apartment well before dark. When I got to his apartment, it was all sealed off with police tape. I was shocked and not sure what to do. So I knocked on the door of Mark's neighbor who lived across the landing. When he answered the door, I asked if he knew where Mark was, or if he had any idea what had happened. The information that the neighbor gave me will haunt me for life. Late on Tuesday night, Mark had come home from an unknown location and had a fight with his girlfriend. I didn't know he had a girlfriend. I would have never spent romantic time with him if I had any idea. Anyway, sometime during the fight, Mark started to beat the girlfriend, and he tied her up with phone cord, and at some point, he raped and strangled her. Mark had covered the side light window next to the door with something so nobody could see in. Then he stole his girlfriend's car and started driving. He headed to the northeastern corner of Arizona in a town called Holbrook. On Wednesday, he was stopped for a minor traffic violation. As the cops were talking to him, they noticed that there was a purse and other personal items that obviously belonged to a woman. So they started questioning Mark about the ownership of the car. They took him to the local police station, and sometime during this time, an APB had been issued for Mark and the car. Mark was arrested on many charges, including rape, murder, car theft, and aggravated assault. I followed Mark's trial only to the extent that I know he was found guilty of first-degree murder and sent to jail for a long time, but I have not kept up with him. To this day, I wonder if I had not given in to his advances, would he have killed me? And what if my attention to Mark had somehow caused the fight or the altercation that ended this poor girl's life? I think I will always carry this horror with me. Thank you for joining me, my Nyctophillacs. I'll see you soon, and remember to embrace the darkness. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to get the notifications. And if you're feeling especially kind, share this video on social media. Thank you.